It's the end of the day. It's time to close up shop. However, something tells you to stay back for a bit. For the next hour or two, you'll be staying after hours. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Double After Hours podcast. And, well, our podcast, it doesn't have deer eating poop, but this movie we're talking about does. It also has Adam Sandler.
And, Fun fact about this movie.
Yeah.
So, Happy Madison Productions, Adam Sandler's goofy little production company that he formed. The animation department of that company is called Meatball Productions or Studios or whatever.
Sure.
Do you want to know how many animated films Meatball has under its name?
I gotta have at least 15.
Wrong. They have one. Because they sat down and said, you know what? 8 Crazy Nights, can't top it.
Nope.
It's their magnum opus.
The one and only masterpiece.
So
they rose
that tells you,
charted this out, and then went back from whence they came.
It was a technical foul.
It was.
I can't. God, this movie sucks.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the one well-known Hannukah movie. Y'all got
sorry,
one.
Jews.
Y'all got one. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry too. Don't worry.
I'm trying to. There's no way this is the only one.
I mean, I personally can't think of one.
No. Okay.
Just off the top of my head. The only one I ever thought of is 8 Crazy Nights. I mean, unless we're talking about like the Family Guy, you know, the I Need a Jew.
That's not even a Hannukah episode. That's just a song in the episode.
Yeah.
They almost got sued over for copyright infringement.
Yes, they did. And we're about to as well.
Well, not really. Hopefully not. But we have to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, yes, we do. I'm Aaron Gresser, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Charlie Robinson. This movie sucks.
And I bought this on Blu-ray as a joke. And here we are.
Yeah, because I know a couple people in the back are going to be going, hey, weren't you guys supposed to do Nightmare Before Christmas as your first Christmas thing this month? So we were, but then Aaron and Shane convinced me, hey, let's change it to 8 Crazy Nights.
Right.
And Shane isn't here right now, but Aaron is.
Yeah.
So one of the men who wanted to change the schedule has the audacity to just not be here.
And he said, oh yeah, I forgot we're doing that.
It's like, I told you during Seinfeld season 2.
Do people read? No.
No one reads anymore. They listen to podcasts, such as the Double After Hours podcast, available on all major platforms.
I want this novelized. Can we get a novelized version of our podcast?
A novelization. So after, I'm trying to think of like what would be like the worst out of context clip to like take in a novelization. I guess I'll start with like Spider-Man 3. Charlie announced that he was pounding as Bryce and Aaron fell to the ground.
And Michael Jackson dangled a kid out of a window.
As he announced, that's ignorant.
In stores now.
Millions of unsold copies everywhere.
Of course. Barnes & Noble, they got them piled up in the back.
Heck yeah. They can't give them away. Like DVDs of 8 Crazy Nights, which is our topic for today.
That's true. Actually, before we start, just one weird thing I noticed about the Blu-ray, since, like I said earlier, for those who have goldfish memory, I bought this on Blu-ray. And so we talked about this a little bit in physical media about how like DVD menus and Blu-ray menus kind of, you know, are inferior to DVD menus. Well, this one doesn't have one at all. It just
plays the movie.
You put the disc in, it plays the FBI warning, and I think it plays like one Sony logo, and then it just starts the movie with like a little banner at the bottom if you want like bonus features. But it's not a menu. It just starts the movie. So it puts Fast Play to shame.
So it's just like we just went back to VHS.
Basically. Which, I mean, I'm not complaining about, because Blu-ray menus can be a little fussy sometimes. So
that's true, they can. But still, I think that goes to show how much people are trying to ignore this particular film.
True.
Because I guess we'll just jump into our quick general thoughts. I've never seen this before. This is my first rodeo with 8 Crazy Nights. I've heard about it. I've seen the memes. We've all seen the poster memes where they change out the characters in the 8 Crazy Nights poster. It's like to something stupid or whatever. We've all seen them. It's
like Click.
Yeah, it's like every Adam Sandler poster is a meme and you just have to find it.
Yeah.
And I knew all of the bad parts about this movie that we're going to get into. I knew that Davy was really mean. I knew that Whitey and Eleanor had annoying voices. I knew there was unnecessary gross out. Of course, I knew about bum biddy 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 bum bum.
Yep.
But seeing is different than believing, you know? And you sit down and you watch this thing like as it's meant to be digested, as this horn is blaring behind me. And you sit there and you question everything you've just done.
It is one of those movies.
This horn, man, this train horn. I'm about to derail this train. I'm about to make sure that like no one is doing anything anymore.
That is a technical foul.
Aaron Jack.
Yes.
You did not just quote 8 Crazy Nights to me.
After that little speech.
Guys, nothing's changed. I hate this movie. It's bad. It's not very fun to watch, and it has the fundamental problem of it's just like it's so silly, but it's just not funny. You know? And I don't mean that as in like, oh, comedy is subjective. I mean that as in like the way that Davy is built as a character. Because like the whole, like, he's basically Lightning McQueen, but meaner. If you want to like throw a label on him.
Like he's got like the ego.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and the similar problem that I have with Lightning McQueen, it's up to a lesser degree, is that they're so mean that they're just unwatchable. And it's not even like, oh, they're mean, but they make funny jokes, so it's fine. The problem is their jokes just aren't funny.
Yeah.
So, like, you see Adam Sandler running around destroying everything, and he's just going up to a fat kid going, wear a bra. It's like, what, okay.
And that, I think, is that is the spitting definition of Happy Madison, in general. There's certainly some decent ideas there, but oh my god. It's just like the best way I can describe it is to quote Nostalgia Critic, who also happened to do this movie as well. And this was a skit in that episode where it's the homeless family that's watching this movie, and they're just laughing at every poop joke. Like that is what Happy Madison's audience is. It's just those that, you know, will crack up at the deer scene. We'll talk about the deer scene. But you know, just everything, every joke like that, and every scene that's like that. That is what Happy Madison is pandering to, and will do everything to go down that route. So, for those who are not entertained by that, it's a little bit of a pain to watch. Just a tad.
Thank God it's really short.
Yeah. This one only clocks to what, an hour 17?
Yeah.
I think it was like the runtime.
No, you're right. You're right on the money. It's like 77 minutes.
Dang. All right. Well, then the Blu-ray had it wrong, because I was looking at the back to see how long the runtime was, because I was a little crunched for time today, and it was like, 74 minutes. I was like, cool. No, it's not.
It's 76, actually, now that I'm looking at it.
Yep.
But
hey, at least it's not 2 hours. Let's all like be a little thankful here.
The 2-hour cut of 8 crazy nights.
I don't think they had the budget for that, to be honest with you.
No, that's probably why it was so short.
Although the animation, which we'll talk about it, I like it. I like it a lot. Quick version of that. I have more things to say about it later on, but yeah.
Should we get started?
What a film! All right, yeah, let's dive into this poop manure pile.
So, speaking of poop manure piles, I know you guys are aching. You're on the edge of your seats at home going, are these guys going to do quick synopsis? I need to hear the movie play by play again. We're killing it.
Yes,
it's dead.
It's going
gone.
away.
No more.
It was funny because we got rid of it beforehand, and now we brought it back as a joke for Neon Genesis End of Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yeah, we're just going to do it just this one last time. That, needless to say, didn't happen. So now it's officially gone after Spider-Man 3.
Went to 2 hours.
Went to 2 hours. Did not overstep End of Evangelion, though. End of Evangelion is still number 1.
It got very close.
It got very close. Or, no, I'm sorry. It was
NGE, Genesis, the show itself.
NGE, the show. So NGE, as of this podcast, as of today, what's today? The 21st, when we're recording this, it is still number 1. So, but maybe all this rambling we're doing and not getting to quick synopsis, it might push it over. I doubt it, but maybe.
Who knows?
You never know. We might just have so much to say about bum biddy 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 bum.
God, I hope not. What?
I'm just imagining us having a full 3-hour conversation just about bum biddy 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 bum.
God, the problem is that's like half of our dinner conversations sometimes. Like, we'll just be focusing on one random bit of nonsense that doesn't matter. It's like, oh, we were supposed to talk about what are we planning for this day? Oopsie.
Yeah, it happens.
But anyway.
Or we start talking about stupid things that some of our wonderful co-hosts do. Sometimes that happens too.
No, we're going to talk about it. Okay, so, guys.
Further delaying this.
It's time for a Bryce life update, because I know you guys are wondering, guys, what's he up to? Bryce hasn't been on the podcast that much. He's only been on 9 out of 32 episodes as of right now. So what's been happening with Gang? So let me fill you in. So we all went to the same high school. That's how we know each other. That's how we know each other. And he is currently going through senior year at this high school. And during this fall semester, he has to do something that's called senior project. It's a semester-long project that bleeds into a little bit into the next semester. And basically what it is that like you take a topic and you have to like do a bunch of different like tasks to like complete this binder of stuff you need to get done by the end of the semester. You have to write a paper, you have to write a bunch of note cards, myriad a bunch of like other kind of tasks and duties that you're like meant to kind of work on throughout the whole semester.
Just think like it's a lot of work. Paper on crack.
Basically, yeah. It's kind of like writing a thesis, but it's worse. And it's not in the sense of writing a thesis is easier, but in the sense of you're 17 to 18, you're going, oh God. But
yeah.
And he's been having a time, and some of his assignments, not just in this class, but in other classes, are a little late. As of this recording, maybe when this comes out, everything will be turned in and grand and fine, and he'll be yelling at us in a future episode and going, Charlie, why did you talk to people about stuff that I haven't given permission to? It's because this is funny. And
it's hilarious.
The reason why Aaron and I were laughing is because recently Bryce told us that one of the parts of his project is that he has to get 100 note cards done for this paper. What does that mean? He basically has to take notes out of a bunch of sources for this paper and put them on note cards, have 100 of them. That's the rule. No, maybe you can do more. I don't remember, but it has to be at least 100. So he did 80 of them. Good for him. He didn't do 20 of them. That's bad. And again, like we previously mentioned, you can't really turn in less than 100. And also, one of the reasons why this project is so scary to a lot of people that we know is that if you don't pass this project, you don't get to graduate. You got to do it again if you fail. So like the stakes are high. And so we know this, right? And Bryce goes, guys, I'm missing 20 note cards. I might be expelled. So he tells me, Aaron, Shane, and a bunch of the other guys were friends with this. And we're just sitting there going, okay, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So naturally we're going, what's preventing you from doing those 20 note cards, bud? And he's giving a whole myriad list of reasons of stuff that like is just kind of weird or whatever. And he's sitting there finding ways to procrastinate on this assignment that is depending on if he graduates or not. This man is so far gone. I love the guy, but holy crap, he is just not wanting to get these note cards done. So our buddy Shane saw all of this, and he made a choice. He decided to buy 100 note cards off of Amazon and send it to Bryce's house with Prime shipping so it would come the next day, gift wrap it, and send a little note. He told Bryce that wasting your life away over 20 note cards is crazy from the boys. Bryce sees all that. Obviously wonders which one of us was. Shane fesses up as he does. But we haven't heard if those note cards are dead yet.
Yeah, as of right now, the status on the note cards is, a
little questionable.
It's kind of a mystery. So, again, this could all be null and void, and I bet you're wondering, how does this relate to 8 Crazy Nights? I'll tell you why. Because this career path, this arc that Bryce is going on, mirrors our main man Davey, if you will. The Greek tragedy of both of these figures, of Bryce. I almost called him dumb. We're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is we are going to say he has potential. But unfortunately, he's squandering it away with all of these plans he has that he's making instead of doing his note cards. And similar to Adam Sandler's famous character Davey in 8 Crazy Nights, the greatest Hannukah movie ever made, he's sitting there with all this potential, but not utilizing it. So we're going to use this movie as a way to dissect what could happen to Bryce and why that's scary. So with that in mind, guys, as our little challenge throughout this episode, I think it's finally time to light the first candle on this Nega wheel that has, coincidentally, 8 parts. It does have 8 parts. And the first of the 8 parts starts with an old favorite. It's an old favorite, but it's a new take on an old favorite.
Ooh!
It's called Quicker Synopsis.
Quicker Synopsis R.
Yeah, that's a registered trademark. It's fine.
Yeah, this one's registered, not trademarked. But, okay, guys. We're going to make sure to keep this actually as a quick synopsis.
Okay.
So we have Mr. Davey. Well, first of all, we have Adam Sandler himself as the narrator, if I remember correctly. And he's like, this is the town of so-and-so. Everyone loves Christmas and Hanukkah here.
Yeah.
And we get introduced to Davey. He's in the Chinese restaurant. He's eating food. I forgot the Chinese character's name. I don't even remember his. I don't remember. But the guy goes like, wow, I've never seen anyone eat that much food before. And Davey goes, as if to tell the audience what kind of movie this is going to be from the very beginning. Well, I'm going to do a new restaurant record and I'm going to burp. Burp. And like it just goes on and on and on. It breaks people's glasses like, haha, it's a burp. And then the Chinese like waiter goes, oh, I'm going to go take a shower now. And it's like, okay.
Thanks, Rob Schneider.
That was Rob Schneider playing a Chinese guy.
Yeah, his canonical character name is just Chinese waiter.
They didn't even give him a name.
No, right here on Google, it's just Chinese waiter.
Dang.
Played by Rob Schneider. See, Happy Madison, they're pandering to the Happy Madison audience. So they can't confuse them with names. You got to go with simple descriptions.
Exactly. Like the white guy's name is Whitey.
Exactly.
That's subtle foreshadowing. But anyway. But
because the movie's smart enough for foreshadowing.
Oh, it is. It gets there. So, Mr. Davy, he obviously he's a bum. He's a bum bitty 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 bum bum,
yes.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have the money. It's not very funny. He's not in a rich man's world. Nope. I just quoted 8 Crazy Nights and ABBA in the same sentence. Someone shoot me. But anyway.
Yeah.
But he dines and dashes because that's what you do when you're Davy.
Of course.
And keep in mind, he's very drunk. That's like his whole thing. He's the drunk guy. That's his whole shtick. Mm-hmm. And we jump into a scene where the cops get him off of his car, and Davy expertly outmaneuvers all of these cops and people while drunk. As we previously established, he can't even walk straight. So I expect I expect the movie to have me believe that he can do all this nonsense while singing a song. I believe that is literally isn't the song just literally called Davy's Song or whatever?
I believe so. Yes, it is. It's called Davy's Song.
It's just called See, again, the Happy Madison audience, it's a one-track mind, that audience. It's next poop joke, please. There's nothing really else to it.
Waiter, bring me more poop jokes.
I'm just imagining that like on the meme, but also the dog has like Adam Sandler's hair. Oh my god. So after we get Davy's song, which basically tells us everything that we already know, there is one line that's important. He goes, what is it like? I hate love, I hate you, I hate me. Yeah. And that's very subtle foreshadowing to the fact that he hates love, he hates you, and he hates him. But anyway, he takes a snowmobile at one point in the song and crashes into like the central like frozen over lake and destroyed like the big ice Christmas tree in Menorah, because that's what you do when you're Adam Sandler. You become a public disturbance. He gets arrested, and like everyone's kind of looking at him, including like his old ex from 20 years ago when they were in school, and her kid. That becomes important later. And freaking he's in court where he basically like this is like the Happy Madison way. They're just going to exposit everything without showing it. And he sits there and goes, Davy, you used to be a great student and you used to be one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen, but you're a drunk and a bum, and here's everything we sent, everywhere we sent you, and you've been up to no good. And then, as if, like an angel's kiss, they hear the voice, they hear the angels crying, and Whitey, also played by Adam Sandler, comes to his aid. So Davy can avoid actually facing his crimes. He becomes a ref for like the local basketball league.
Yep, the youth one. Yep.
Yeah, for the kids, because this movie is for the kids.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's for the kids, all right.
So Davy has to go with Adam Sandler, because this is Adam Sandler playing two characters. Because Whitey was a thing before this movie. Like he's actually appeared in live action in different Adam Sandler movies, if I remember correctly.
He's one of Adam Sandler's OCs.
He's one of Adam Sandler's funny little SNL characters that got cut, and then he realized, oh no.
How annoying can I be? Happy Madison.
Exactly. So Davy goes to frickin' help Whitey out being a ref for a game, and he's obviously doesn't care. He's just insulting the players and not calling fouls the whole time. Whitey has first of his many seizures, yippee-dee-dee, because seizures are neat to the Happy Madison community.
The Happy Madison community.
I'm just imagining an average Happy Madison fan going into like a retirement home and seeing a seizure happen in real time, and they just grab the popcorn. It's just like 8 Crazy Nights.
This recreation's great.
Hey, everyone here looks like Whitey. This is crazy.
They all just collectively say, that's a technical foul. All in unison.
This movie existing is a technical foul, dude. But anyway. So, freaking Davy's making fun of everyone. But he notices but it's like obviously like they try to calm him down, but like, and Whitey takes him to the mall where he monologues about how great it is to look at Panda Express. Yippee-dee-dee.
Yeah,
and that somehow becomes important later.
One of many product placements.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know why Panda Express said, yeah, I think that's pretty good. That we'll choose that one there. That's a good movie to sponsor.
Exactly.
Like, why would you not want to sponsor 8 Crazy Nights?
Dude, I can think of 8 crazy reasons not to.
8 crazy and very logical reasons.
Number 1, Adam Sandler. Number 2, Adam Sandler.
Speaking of Adam Sandler, I was doing a little off-screen browsing here, and apparently there is an r/Happy Madison dedicated to Happy Madison. So it has a whopping 30 members.
Nice.
Scratch that, make that 31.
Aaron.
And wow, there's some there's quite a few people on here talking about some other great Adam Sandler content. So.
Oh my god. We gotta talk about this great Adam Sandler content.
Yes, we do.
At the mall, Davey and Whitey, they're talking about products, and Davey like dumps out the tray of fries and tells it to, says bite me, hee hee ha ha. And the important part of this scene is that Davey sees his old ex from 20 years ago, Jennifer Friedman, with her kid, because basically their whole thing is that she was married to a guy for like 13 years, but then he immediately left her when he met some girl online. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's a reason of all time.
That's one of the plot points of all time, yes.
Anyway, so obviously she doesn't like Davey because he's the town drunk for 20 years, so naturally, not a big fan.
Yeah.
And
built up that drunk reputation.
Exactly. He's got that drunk mentality because he's just a rude little crapper.
He doesn't eat the crapper or eat from the crapper.
He doesn't. That's someone else.
Just an angry crapper. Yeah.
But anyway, the important part of the scene is that like they're kind of in the same vicinity again, because like they're driving back, if I remember correctly, and Davey's like, oh my god, like I'm so happy. Like obviously, like she's not like, why does she look at me like that? Well, I guess like she's looking at me like that. Yeah. Well, actually, that comes later, but still. But eventually, like Whitey's trying to like be a good like person to Davey, but obviously Davey is just kind of he's Davey, he's annoying.
Sure. And
eventually, it all culminates where they're at the rec center or whatever, because Whitey is like, well, why'd you call me in here? There's no games today. But Whitey's like, oh, like, you gotta spruce up on your ref skills or whatever. You gotta remember the rules. And the important part is that Jennifer's son, Benjamin, is there. And he's kind of a spaz, which, okay, cool, I guess. But anyway. And the important part about this is that they get into a 2v2 with these two other jerk guys because, like, Davey makes a joke. They're like, oh, I could beat them with Whitey or whatever. And they're like, oh, I'd want to see that. So they get into a 2v2. Whitey has a big old seizure and just gets totally like knocked out. So it's like, all right, Benjamin, time to come in. And through the power of teamwork and Davey being really good at basketball, they win. And the enemy eats a jockstrap off a fat guy. Because that is the average lunch for a Happy Madison fan.
We're talking to you, r/Happy Madison.
I know exactly what you eat. Don't even lie to me. But the important part about that is like Davey's kind of like being good to the kid or whatever, and Jennifer still doesn't really like him or whatever because like the kid yells, words, and he's like, oh no, I can't say that. I'm a child. And then we get to the car bit where we get to the flashback where then like we learn, oh, Davey and Jennifer, they were in love 20 years ago. Sure, they were kids, but it was real. It was real. You can tell how seriously I take this plot point. But, right. And then eventually, like, the whole song is, like, interrupted through Whitey saying utter nonsense. But we'll get to that when we talk about the songs. But it all ends because they go to Davey's trailer, which is where he's been living, and it's on fire. he gets into his trailer and saves the card that was left to him by his parents, which is the only thing he really cares about. And the trailer burns down. It was burned down by the guys who he beat in basketball, and they never show up again.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a bunch of sore losers, just like the Happy Madison fans.
I know, right? And Davey was a big sore loser because he has to live with Whitey and his sister Eleanor, who I haven't really mentioned that much because honestly, she really isn't that important, but whatever. And he goes to their house and they sing the technical foul song. Oh boy! which is Adam Sandler singing in 3 different characters in unison, which is kind of impressive.
Sure.
But it becomes less impressive when it's Adam Sandler doing 3 stupid voices, and then you want to claw your hair out.
And it's just that you can tell why that got canned from SNL.
Yeah.
You can tell. That is just the most god awful.
Oh my god.
But again, it's a Happy Madison thing where it's so stupid and it makes the 1% laugh. So it's worth it.
You know, Aaron, as the 99% of people who don't find these jokes funny, maybe we're just ignorant. Have you ever thought about that?
Maybe we're not on the same wavelength as the Happy Madison mentality.
You're right.
We got to
They've
retune.
ascended.
Yeah. We got to retune. We got to dial it back.
You're right.
Got to sniff some glue, and then I think we'll be there.
So at this point in the movie, Davey's actually kind of like, enjoying himself. He's getting along with Whitey and Eleanor. Things are going great until Whitey recounts Davey's past and why he's a mean little stinker because he ended up clutching up in a basketball game. But after the fact, he finds out that his parents got hit by a truck and freaking died, man.
Yeah.
And
which is heavy stuff for a Happy Madison movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, that wasn't very happy of you, Madison.
No, not at all.
I don't think you're living up to your namesake. There wasn't one poop joke in this sequence. I felt a little talked down to myself.
I know, right? The movie being smart? Wow.
Movie being heavy? Grr.
Whew. Can't take it. Gotta have that lightweight Happy Madison haha.
I'm just imagining the scene where like Jennifer, when she's 12, like walks into the locker room and is like, Davey, I'm so sorry, farts. Sorry, I nervous fart.
Yeah.
That'd be a good character trait. Write that down, Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler, we know you're listening.
Adam, I know you've been a diehard Double After Hours podcast fan.
Heck, you've been fans since the radio days.
Oh my god, yeah, because half of our jokes then were just poop jokes. And just non sequitur sex jokes, and nothing's changed, really.
Nope. Poop of the week is still intact.
Oh, yeah, and we all know about pounding from not last week, but 2 weeks ago.
Oh my god.
But anyway, guys, it doesn't matter because naturally, when Adam Sandler, Davey himself, our Bryce moniker, hears this very sad story, and he just freaks out, which doesn't really make sense because Whitey and Eleanor have been living under the same house for years. And this happened 20 years ago. And Whitey was there. You'd think he'd tell her that very same night. Shh, ignore that part.
Yep.
But anyway.
Don't think about it. Sniff some glue. Eat a crayon. You'll be fine.
So Davey snaps at Eleanor and Whitey. And everyone's crying and they're all sad. And he's not welcome back in Whitey's house. Oh, boo-hoo.
Womp womp.
And exactly, womp womp, right? And what happened is very simple. Davey spends the rest of the day just drinking, and he ends up breaking into the mall because he wants to yell at Jennifer for whatever reason because drunk. And he gets visions of all of the product placements to come alive. GNC, Panda Express, Radio Shack, Sharper Aim, all those guys. Victoria's Secret, too. And,
that's a throwback.
Yeah, and what, the Victoria's Secret?
Good old days.
Man, check out her bajugs. Or bazugs, sorry. That's the line. What a stupid. I just can't. There's not even bazugs to look at. She's a piece of clothing.
Yep.
What are you looking at? Air?
Yeah.
Are you just jacking off to Oxygen?
I know the Happy Madison audience is.
Dude, they like see a gust of wind and like, oh yeah!
Whoop!
Woo! Maybe we're the Happy Madison audience with all these jokes we're making.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past
Maybe
it.
so.
I think so. I think we've officially stooped to that level.
Maybe so. But anyway, the most important part is that Davy, after 20 years of not crying, finally opens his parents' Hannukah card, which he's had this whole time and hasn't opened for 20 years.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, like, your parents are, whatever. Your parents are dead. Wouldn't you want to see what they told you? I don't.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess, like, he doesn't want to move on or whatever. I guess that's the point. But still, it's like,
that maybe I can understand. I don't know.
It's just kind of dumb. I don't know. I feel like a 12-year-old would want to see the last thing their parents would say. I don't know. But that's just me. But the point is that Davy ends up becoming a changed man that night because he boards a bus to New York, but the bus is forced to stop because a thumbtack punctures all 8 tires. Okay?
8 tires?
Yeah, the 8 of his back tires.
For 8 crazy nights?
I know, Aaron.
A tire for every night?
It's crazy.
No tires, just gas.
No tires, no tires.
You need tires, you idiot.
Was Lightning McQueen there the whole time?
I think so. I mean, we were relating to it earlier.
That's true. This is just the culmination of all the podcasts we've done so far. But, guys, they're at the community center, which is having this big old celebration for the Dukesbury All-Star Patch, an award that's been given out for 35 years about the most outstanding member in the community. And Whitey, the man who really only serves the community, that's like is one of his few traits we get, has not won it yet, which is a little weird, but okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later.
Though, I can actually see. I'm looking at you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's a lot of artists that you'd be surprised that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet.
Name the biggest one.
I think the biggest one was Foreigner.
Really? Foreigner's not in there?
I believe. Let me fact check myself real quick.
You know what? I know why.
Why?
They're from out of town.
They're not in town. They're not. They're not around town.
They're called Foreigner. How can you include them if they're foreign?
Let's see.
I know exactly how these judges work. They're just awful.
God, they finally did it. It was back in October. They actually put him in. Dang. Well, it took them that
slap
long.
Me silly and call me Foreigner.
What artists are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because I know there's a few other big ones. I'm glad they finally got to that. Let's see. Ozzy Osbourne's not there. That's a crime.
Weird.
Brian Eno, that's a crime. Peter Frampton, that's a crime.
With a name like that?
Let's see. Who else? Is Iron Maiden's not in there. That'll make Frank angry.
Okay, that one actually does surprise me.
Devo's not in there. The MC5. George Michael's not in there.
What?
The B-52s aren't. Blue Oyster Cult isn't. Wow.
Peter Gabriel? Well, I mean, he's not rock. That's funny that he's not in there.
Peter Gabriel. I don't think Peter Gabriel is. Peter Gabriel?
No, he's not.
Is he?
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. 2014.
I'm sorry. You included Peter Gabriel first before Devo?
That's a crime. See?
That's the Happy Madison kind of judging that we're getting.
I think they're all big fans over there.
Oh, I'm convinced. But anyway, to wrap up the quicker plot synopsis, they go to the community center, and the guy who wins is a character who you never meet, but basically he buys the new electronic scoreboard, and Whitey's all sad and cries and leaves the venue. And Adam Sandler sees all of this and walks in, knowing he'll probably get arrested because, he's a bad man because he broke into the mall and everyone knows.
Oh, sure.
And gets everyone to realize, guys, Whitey is so important. And then bum biddy 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 bum bum happens.
Love that part.
which I guess that was all they needed to do. Just hit half a T pose and do a nice little shake and bake. I guess that's all they need to figure it out.
Yeah, they're doing they're doing the NFL ref.
Flag, 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 flag.
I mean, that's what's happening right now.
You dare to touch
night.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, God bless you, Josh Allen. Thank you for dethroning the Chiefs.
My boy.
We appreciate you very much.
There's a reason that man is lucky enough to date Haley Steinfeld. What a national hero.
Yep.
That's my QB. Well, it's not. It's Jared Goff, but that's one of my other favorite QBs.
Yeah. Is he in the top 5?
Oh, he's in my top 5 for me.
Okay.
It's Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Whitey. And Whitey again.
Yeah. Got all kinds of
But
technical fouls.
But speaking of Whitey, he goes to the mall because it's the only place that cheers him up, even though like he knows it's closed. But they go there anyway. And it turns out to be unlocked because Davey broke in. Duh. And the whole town is there. And they look at Whitey and go, "We're sorry for not giving you the award for the last 35 years. You deserve it. It's finally his moment." And he has the happiest seizure of his life. Davey and Jennifer are back together, and the movie ends.
Because Happy Madison has to end on a happy Madam moment. I'll see myself out.
Yeah, spin that wheel, Aaron. Well, before we spin the wheel, so closing thoughts on the plot, because that was a very quick synopsis.
Yes, it was.
Guys, it's finally living up to its name.
I know.
But
I know. That was... What was that? Well, I think it was about like 30 minutes.
yeah, that's like half the movie. That's generally what we try to go to.
Amazing. That's great.
Finally.
I love the new format, and I'm sure you will too.
It's great, but it feels like 10 minutes are missing from this thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like we should have had a 10 extra minutes near the end, because it feels like Bum Biddy Biddy Bum Bum is the end of the second act. Yeah. And then we just get 10 minutes of like, "It's your turn, Whitey." Oh my God! And then it's done.
Yeah. I want to go the easy route and just say that they wanted to end it short for the Happy Madison audience because they couldn't handle a third act.
Maybe.
I want to say that as a joke, but I also kind of want to say that seriously. Like, I think
third acts are so easy, are a lot easier to write than the second act.
It's Happy Madison.
You're right. I don't know why I'm putting so much stock in an animation division that only made this.
Right. Yeah. This is the level we're talking here. So yeah, I do agree with that. I think it could have gone on a little bit longer, but sometimes I'm a little thankful that it didn't go on for longer because 8 crazy nights.
Oh, it was crazy.
Oh, it was crazy. All right. This plot is just, it feels like it's got a sliver. It's got a very slim sliver of like, okay, I can see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
But then you just throw poop joke orama at it, and it's like, okay.
It ruins it.
Yeah. Yeah. Where Spider-Man has its goofiness to it, and, where Children of the Corn has its goofiness to it.
Lord knows.
At least there's like ideas and plots there that can work, that
are interesting.
They're interesting. And sure, Children of the Corn was a short story turned into a full-length movie. Had a little bit of filler going on. But this case, I think it's the direct opposite. Yeah. I think it needs more, like you said, it needs more time to kind of flesh some of this out and make up for all the poop joke time and all the Happy Madison hee hee ha ha nonsense.
The Rob Schneider shenanigans.
Yes. Yes. Well, Rob Schneider was your first mistake, but,
What a line. Rob Schneider was your first mistake. Aaron Gresser, 2024.
Listen, not a big Schneider man.
Yeah, me either.
Never been never been big on old Schneidi.
Oh my god! But we gotta get big on this wheel because we got 7 more crazy sections to talk about.
Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and give her an old spin and see what we get. Oh my gosh, I forgot. So we're using a new thing for the wheel. It's an app this time because Wheel Decide was having too many issues, and this thing has so much friction. It's not even funny. Okay, let's see what we got here, or so much no friction, I should say. It just spins forever. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the songs.
So as the resident theater, well, Shane's actually more of a theater guy nowadays than I am, so I can't even say that.
Yeah.
But I'm whiter than him, so that has to count for something.
Are you whiter than Whitey?
The white off.
The white.
That's a technical foul.
That's a show on Fox. No.
The white off. Like Fox or Fox News? Which Fox?
Airs live on Fox with a re-air on Fox News.
Okay. And then a re-air on Fox Business.
Yes. And streaming on Fox Nation.
I mean, they're not all the same company anymore, but still.
Yeah. No, it's fine. This is the one thing they can agree on. I'm sure Rupert and News Corp can, definitely, shake some hands on that one.
Oh my god!
Come on,
but
Roop.
Anyway.
Roop, I know you're listening. Get going.
Yeah, come on, Roopy boy. I hear you. But
Roopy poopy.
Roop Troop, I see you.
I like Roop Troop. That's good.
How to get fired from Fox News speed run. Go up to Rupert Murdoch and call him a Roop Troop and see what happens.
That's great. Oh, Roop Troop.
What a stupid name. Guys, we're not political, I swear. We just like making fun of people's names.
Yeah.
Which is why we made the Whitey jokes. But anyway.
Yeah. This is why we talk about the white off. Coming to our YouTube channel, never.
You don't know that. We're all white.
That's true. We could have a white off. Will YouTube like that? Maybe not.
You don't know. They'll figure it out.
It's a YouTube original.
A YouTube exclusive. I mean, that's what some of our content is.
Some.
Not all, but some.
Yeah.
But anyway, the songs. So as a white boy, as a cracker fanatic, as a saltine submariner, here's what I can tell you.
Uh-huh.
So the songs, their songs, all right. They sure do sing, and the problem I think with half of them is that it's Adam Sandler as a character singing. Like Technical Foul, it's okay. Like it's meme worthy. It's kind of funny. The problem is that Whitey's voice is so grating that it makes the actual interesting idea of Adam Sandler in 3 different voices singing in harmony and like different parts, which is really impressive to Adam Sandler's credit.
Sure.
Just really dumb because you're hearing Whitey go like friggin' that's a technical foul.
Yeah. Just imagine listening that for the entire movie. And for a whole song sequence. Yeah. Yeah. If you've watched 8 Crazy Nights, you'll know.
It ruins like half of the songs by technicality. And then you get the other half where Whitey isn't singing. And it kind of just feels like a lot of them run on the logic of, I'm going to say something obscene and that'll solve the problem. Like, as funny as Bum Biddy 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 Bum Bum is, a lot of it is just kind of like dunking on Whitey, which is what we've already done. And it just feels like in this particular world where everyone's kind of has something weird about them, why are we dunking on Whitey specifically in the like there's a bit where Whitey ends up getting stood up at prom in Bum Biddy 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 Bum Bum.
Yes.
And he slow dances with his mom and he grabs her cake. And it's just like
he grabs her bum biddy 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 bum bum.
He does. He grabs her mum biddy 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 mum bum. And it's like it's just like Whitey, sweet summer old man. What are we gonna do with you, Whitey?
Sweet summer senior.
You sweet summer senior. That's good. I like that. But and you just like the songs are filled with jokes like that just totally tank it. Like I mentioned earlier, like the Davy Jennifer ballad of "I wish things were like the way they were 20 years ago" song. Mm-hmm. Half of it is Whitey just totally in like saying nonsense. That's just non sequiturs. Like, I had sex on the phone, and that was 20 years ago. It's like, because Adam Sandler.
Right. Happy Madison.
Who's happy? I sure ain't.
The Happy Madison fans, they're happy. They love it. They're eating this up. They want a sequel. 9 Crazy Nights.
9 Crazy Nights.
And a spin-off show. 9 Crazy Days.
And then we get the spin-off of the spin-off, 10 Lazy Afternoons.
And the list goes on.
But anyway... But I feel like Bryce can attest to this as he's doing a song for his product and senior project right now, because no, I haven't forgotten how we're going to relate all these sections to Bryce's current career arc of the note cards. We're tying this in somehow. I just haven't figured it out yet, but we'll give it time. I will. But it feels like a lot of them just have like a bad research paper that I've written in my day. A little bit too much fluff. Sure. You know, like I don't need to see... It's not that I don't need to see Whitey being embarrassing during a song, but it all comes down to it's the one type of joke in that it's Whitey embarrassing himself and not him being genuinely funny or clever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most of the songs.
I'd say, you know, in certain circumstances that can be funny, but when that's all the freaking time, you know, that's where that's when the funny... The funny meter just kind of it
just tapers off.
Yeah. As for the songs themselves, I mean, I was, of course, for the meme factor, you know, I was, you know, laughing along with them. But yes, the problems, they're there. They're in full effect. And, you know, it's just those character voices. That's the thing that gets me. It's just, oh my God, I can't. I just hate.
You just can't. And I guess to wrap all of this up is that it feels like, I'm going to compare this to Aladdin in a weird way, but that's because I love Aladdin. That's the musical I'm most familiar with. Each song in Aladdin sounds and acts very differently from each other. A song like Friend Like Me is way different than A Whole New World. It has like different sets of humor, different sets of setup and payoff.
Sure.
While as in this movie, it feels like every song is the same because they make the same jokes every time. For example, the Ghost of GNC pills goes to the Victoria's Secret lingerie nightgown floating thing and says, "Check out her bazugs." And it's like, okay. And then in the first song, Adam Sandler literally goes like, "I'm gonna grab this girl's melons," and it's like, oh wow, she's actually carrying melons. That's crazy. Like, it's just the same joke in a different format, and it just isn't that funny.
And they're very easy jokes too. If you pay attention, every single joke is so freaking easy. And
because we strive for different jokes on this show.
And I don't want to say it. But I'm just gonna say it. It's the Happy Madison audience effect. It just is. I can't say it any other way. It's, you know who these jokes are targeted to. And it's just frustrating.
I guess I just keep saying to end this, but I just keep thinking of different points.
Oh, sure.
But
no, let's rip it shreds.
We can just...
It's 8 Crazy Nights. Go crazy.
All right. You said that with the same energy as a white woman when they order fries at a restaurant. If I may copy John Mulaney for 2 seconds. Let's go crazy. It's 8 Crazy Nights. It's taco night. Get out the guac. Like, what are you gonna do? I like you. Want to get a milkshake? What are we doing here?
Oh, that's great.
But if I may end this, it feels like this movie and its songs were written for an audience rather than the audience.
Uh-huh.
Like once you know that once you hear when a movie says this isn't for you, you're cooked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this movie feels like. I think it's finally time to spin that wheel.
They're appealing to white women who go crazy. It's taco night.
Don't get too spicy.
Oh my god. That was really funny. I like that. Okay, let's go ahead and spin the wheel, shall we? Okay, spinning. Still spinning. Oh boy. Really? Are we just hitting all the big ones? Yeah, we are. Let's talk about gross out humor.
Okay.
Speaking of pandering to an audience.
Yeah, exactly. I know we left out most of the gross out jokes from the quicker synopsis because that's why we're saving them for here.
Sure.
But the movie is chocked full of utter nonsense. It's not like they hide it from you. They let you know right away this is what this is. Like the burp in the restaurant scene and that Adam Sandler propels himself faster during his own song by farting. Mm-hmm. And the deer literally eating crap and Whitey being covered in poop in the porta potty and the deer pooping themselves and
the
kids just snotting and people barf. It's excessive, man. Yeah. And listen, I'll keep it a buck. Gross out humor usually just doesn't work on me. I just don't. It's my least favorite type of humor. Like, maybe an occasional well-placed burp might get me. Like, that one has potential, but that cannot be, like, the thesis of your film. Just one long burp joke.
Is that how he pitched it? Was that in the pitch room?
Yeah, I bet when Adam Sandler was pitching this movie, he just like did the exact same burp as he did in the restaurant scene that said, "Perfect, you're hard."
What a film.
What a crappy little film.
We'll sign this one off immediately. Oh.
It's just excessive, you know?
Uh-huh. And I understand, like, Happy Madison, you know, it's Adam Sandler's shindig. It's his Super Bowl. It's his Virgin Circus. and it shows because it just feels like he just went crazy. Again, to channel the inner white woman again, he went crazy. He didn't stop. Nobody stepped in and said, "Hey man, listen, I think that's enough poop jokes."
Yeah, and unlike George Lucas, who could admit that he went a little far in some places, Adam Sandler just turned on the gas.
Yeah, and I don't want to parrot myself again, but it's just you're playing it off to this audience, and then everybody else is just left there to suffer, or just not watch it entirely.
Yeah,
either one. If this one gets in the family movie night rotation, it's over.
What? I can't imagine any parent showing this to their kids.
Well, I'm sure one did. I'm sure there's someone out there traumatized by this movie.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Does he have like a framed copy of this movie somewhere?
I mean, I'm sure like it's on the DVD shelf.
Yeah. His own personal collection.
Yeah. God, what does Adam Sandler's DVD shelf look like? I like to imagine it's like a lot of actual good movies, like Back to the Future, Gladiator, Passion of the Christ, even though I don't like Passion of the Christ. And then 8 Crazy Nights is just next to it.
Just chilling there on the shelf. Oh my goodness. Is Adam Sandler a canonical Mel Gibson fan?
I hope not.
Oh my goodness. So,
but anyway,
the gross out humor again. Happy Madison.
It's also made worse by the fact this movie is really well animated.
Yes,
so it's just like it really focuses in.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the animation. I swear to God, we're talking about it next. It's right here. Bam, boom. Let's talk about it.
Huge
animation.
Okay. If we may praise this movie for one thing, this movie looks stupidly good.
Yes.
Like, unreasonably good.
And then it's 8 Crazy Nights.
It feels like they watched The Iron Giant and said, "Hold my beer. We're gonna do that again."
Mm-hmm. Oh
It's
my god,
so
it really
weird.
does look like Iron Giant.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a good movie. We should talk about that.
That's a great movie. I like that one. Haven't seen it in a hot minute, but
Dude, it's directed by Brad Bird. He did The Incredibles.
yeah.
And The Bartman. That's true, though. That's actual fact.
I remember that conversation about where it's publicly acceptable to do the Bartman.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised The Bartman wasn't done in this movie.
Yeah.
Everybody come on, do the Bartman.
That would be another great thing, a non sequitur to just interrupt the flow of the movie.
Do the white man. Do the white man. It's the whitey version.
Do the white man.
It's a command in more ways than one. 8 Crazy Nights, Aaron. They're crazy.
They're nuts. Animation. So we're just going to move right along here. Yes, the animation is fantastic. It has no right to be that fantastic, but it is. And it's such a shame that this was their one and only film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there could have been a lot of things, you know, turned into even, you know, I might go as far to say maybe even an animated series out of not 8 Crazy Nights, but like, you know, something else. You know, another Adam Sandler production, you know, could have turned into some kind of like animated series or like, you know, a direct to DVD special or, you know, something to utilize this company because there is potential there. But then you make 8 Crazy Nights and it's like, why did you even bother?
If I may go on a very quick
tangent, tirade,
not a tangent, but more of just an explanation.
Okay.
So 8 Crazy Nights comes out in 2002.
Yes.
Right? And for those of us who know our animation history, which I know not all of us do, which is why, you know, we're here because we're all big fans.
Mm-hmm.
If we remember correctly, Toy Story comes out in 95.
Yeah.
Pixar jumps into the market. 3D animation becomes the big thing that becomes trying to be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
After the Disney Renaissance ends in the late 90s and the early 2000s rolls around, think about what kind of movies were popular, at least like animated movies were popular at the time. There was a few like animated movies that were 2D that hit. Lilo and Stitch was a big one. Fantasia 2000 did pretty well in theaters, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. DreamWorks still did a couple, like obviously The Road to El Dorado, which is a great movie that everyone needs to watch. Sinbad, that also thing I came out around this era. But 2D was on a way out, and 3D was kind of starting to step in. DreamWorks was starting to focus way more on the 3D department. Disney was very slow at the times, and Pixar was 3D flat out.
Yep.
So you look at 8 Crazy Nights, and let's treat this with a little bit of respect, as much as we haven't. It's a 2D animated movie that isn't received well, and it's seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're setting up every expectation on it, and it's just going to fail. If a seasonal movie bombs, you're never going to want to watch it again, even if it's in season. It's a 2D movie, which as much as I love 2D animation, I prefer it over 3D. It was on the way out at this point in history. And you're doing this to a fledgling part of a studio, and this is their first picture. I think they saw writing on the wall and said, we're not going to take this risk again.
Fair enough. I think maybe if they just to kind of throw my 2 cents in, I think there still very much was an audience for 2D movies.
Oh,
though.
Sure.
And I think if you were able to, you know, do something to tap into that instead of, you know, making a seasonal film called 8 Crazy Nights, you know, if you were able to do something different with that, if you were able to make something that wasn't a seasonal movie and that didn't suck balls, then, you know, I think this animation company could have been very successful. I think there could have been like plenty of more productions that they would have been a part of. But no, they gave up. And
it's just
now you have 8 Crazy Nights, and you have that's your one and only claim to fame.
And it's a total shame because, again, like we keep mentioning, this movie looks really good. The character movements feel very fluid. Nothing feels that choppy. Everything looks so clean and polished and nice. You could mistake this for genuinely, maybe not a Disney movie, but something in that catalog. Like Anastasia, somewhere like in that kind of league.
Sure.
And it's a total bummer because I think this movie was it was bad and also was caught at the worst possible time.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to criticize one thing about it, the fact that the animation is so pretty makes some of the gross out worse because it's so detailed that it loops back around from it being like funny, because if it's like fake bad gross out, then it's like, okay, whatever, because bad looking gross out that's totally fake is way funnier than realistic gross out. Because you know it's fake, and the fact that it's fake makes it funny. Not because the people who did it did a bad job, but because they understand when you cross the line between realistic looking gross out, it kind of ruins it. And I think this movie forgot that. Because when you start seeing kids snotting and puking and deer eating crap and licking crap and pissing and pooping, it takes out the fun of maybe what could be funny.
Yeah. One thing that really it comes to mind to me about the gross out humor, there's an episode of Family Guy, and I can't believe I'm going to Family Guy. This is the levels we're stooping here. We're going to Family Guy. But there is a scene that comes to mind. I've seen this on YouTube a billion times. You probably have too. It's the episode with Evil Stewie, where it's the scene where Brian is like, he's like handcuffed to like a pole, and Stewie's having this battle with Evil Stewie, and he kills Evil Stewie, and then he goes up to Brian and starts crying and like snotting all over himself. Oh my god, that's awful. I hate it. How does this relate to 8 Crazy Nights? There's just that, but a lot of that. It's not a good time. I don't know why I went to Family Guy for that, but hey.
We all do.
We all have to go back to Family Guy every once in a while.
Listen, Quagmire and Cleveland and Peter were there. Joe put out the fire. I'm just referencing nonsense that the people haven't listened to.
What, Shane?
What, Shane? But to relate it back to Bryce, as our ongoing quest to relate each part of this movie to Bryce, you have to remember not to get too lost in the sauce. You know? You have to remember to pace yourself. You have to remember to keep calm.
Yeah.
And think about what you're doing. Is this a good idea? Take a moment. Get some people who won't be yes men. Get some people with some differing opinions. See what they say. As any good creative process has people who aren't always on board. Because that will challenge them to make better art. It's why the original trilogy of Star Wars was so good. Because Lucas was surrounded by people who challenged him. It's why the prequels suck. Because he wasn't surrounded by people who actively challenged him. I do hate the prequels. We'll get to them eventually. But now is not that day.
Right now is 8 Crazy Family Guys.
Holy crap, Lois. This reminds me of the time when I beat the crap out of Whitey.
That's a technical foul. Oh, that shit, buddy.
I'm just imagining the electric company bit where he goes, F, at, fat. Oh, now you've done it for Oh my god. But animation, it's really pretty. It's kind of the worst and best thing about this movie at times. Time to spin that wheel.
Yeah. Well, I've already pre-spun the wheel since I know this thing has a tendency to go a little long. So next up is where we basically run to all the characters. So I guess we'll do the little quick character run. We're going to start, though, with Jennifer and Benjamin.
They're so boring.
Yeah.
they're just not given anything interesting to be. Like, I understand what they're supposed to do in, like, terms of plot reasons. Like, oh, connect with Benjamin. That's how you get to the girl. That's how you show you're growing as a person, yada, yada, yada. I get that from a story standpoint. Obviously, it's not very subtle. Mm-hmm. The problem is that, like, they're just not interesting characters. Like, they're like, such, like, the standard, like, wife and, like, son characters.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
Which I think could also help, with the extra, say, 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes to, give them some extra oomph to them instead of just going, wife.
Girl. Because I think my biggest problem with Jennifer is that, like, they make a big part of their characters with Davy that they were in love with each other when they were 12. And it's like, I'm not trying to dunk on anyone who found their soulmate early. If you did, that is awesome, and I am so happy for you. Love is a magical thing, and so many people really don't find it. And the fact that you were able to find it at such a young age, that's great. But that's really not how it works for most people. And it just feels a little silly that we're focusing on, like, this goofy little 20 years ago, I knew this. If they were, like, in high school, I would buy it. Sure. Like, yeah, people change a lot from high school to college, but, like, your general essence from high school, some of that still carries over, Yeah. Like, that's way more realistic. But, like, you're 12 and then he starts drinking, and that's more of a Davy thing. But it makes Jennifer's character the pining over a guy when he was 12. And it's like, you're making her whole thing that she's a protective mom, she doesn't like Davy, and she's pining over the thing that he was when he was 12. That's like her core 3 traits.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a problem that Superman has when he's in the wrong hands, aka Zack Snyder's, where he's written to be like, his only focus is like Lois Lane. Yeah. And like a lot of characters where their only focus is like their love interest, and that's just boring.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that too. I mean, that was very well said. There's nothing to it, Like you said, and I don't want to parrot too much, but there's nothing to really say. You have just generic character. You have, this 20 years ago backstory, and then you go to the present where the main movie's taking place, and there's nothing. It's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do, Adam? I can't fall in love with these characters when there's nothing there.
Besides poop jokes.
Yeah, besides a bunch of poop jokes. That's all you have, Heavy Medicine. And everybody loves it.
Oh, I do.
Big ol' hilarious hee ha ha.
I think it's time to spin that wheel.
Oh, it's wheel spinning time, all right. But, wait. You haven't related this to Bryce. How do Jennifer and Benjamin relate?
Thank you, Mr. Gresser.
No problem.
So here's what I can say. Mm-hmm. You never want to get too transfixed in the past or what happened in the past. You want to always focus on your future. You want to focus on what decisions can you do right now that are smart and that give you as many options to succeed as possible. You never want to hedge your bets all in one basket, because what happens if you lose that basket?
Yeah.
Kind of screwed.
Game over.
You need to be fruitful, you need to be smart, and you need to be tactical. Just because someone else does it and became successful doesn't mean you might necessarily will too.
There you go.
You always need to be thinking about new, innovative ways to stay at the top of the game. Sure, Steve Jobs dropped out of college and did fine. That doesn't mean you need to drop out of anything and you'll be just fine. Or you could drop out and be fine. What I am saying is that you never want to make decisions without actually thinking about your current stipulation. Without thinking about, why did it work for this specific person? Just be smart.
Be smart. Message from the Double After Hours podcast. Okay.
Stay in school, kids.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and spin the wheel. And still spinning, still spinning. Please don't be Whitey. Please don't be Whitey. God, it's Whitey.
God, it's white. But
it's time for the white off.
It's time for the white off. Man, he's just so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, he's the most old man character ever. Like, he's unnecessarily nice. He's behind the times. He gets seizures all the time. He has, like, an adult 11 and a children's 9 for his sock size. Like, he's just... And I say that because...
I love how that's an actual thing said in the movie, too.
It is. I was quoting. And I say that because when you look at the animation style, right, and how everyone normally looks, they're all, like, very, like, clean characters, you know? They're all very normal. And Whitey is the one guy who sticks out in this town.
He looks like Mr. Magoo.
He looks like the Six Flags old man, but shorter.
Yes, the Six Flags old man, Mr. Magoo, if you're old enough to remember Mr. Magoo.
I am.
Like, he's kind of got that old man style to him. Maybe like he's got a little Elmer Fudd in there too. Just a pinch. A little touch. A little touch of Fudd. That's a sentence. Anyways.
Touch of Fudd.
A touch of Fudd.
That's an Amber Alert waiting to happen. That's just that's not correct. I'm just imagining Elmer Fudd doing that. It's like, it's just awful.
A touch of Fudd?
Yeah, he just goes,
So it's Meat Canyon?
No.
Maybe.
I don't like Meat Canyon. We're not letting it turn into that.
You know, Meat Canyon actually made a canonical appearance in The Simpsons.
What? When?
I think it was during one of the, I think it was like the recent Treehouse of Horror. He's like holding a brain, I guess. And he's like, it was like part of a science project. And he goes, no, my brain and I like Meat Canyon videos. And like, I think it was like eating spaghetti or something. But he said Meat Canyon in a Simpsons episode.
But he hates science. He's like me. He's into Meat Canyon videos and doing wrestling moves on the dog and pouring Red Bull on pancakes.
I hate.
So, yeah. Anyways, not talking about The Simpsons. We're talking about Crazy Nights.
Whitey.
And Whitey.
He's just like...
It's the voice. The voice is what gets it for me.
It's the voice.
I mean, yes, I get it. You have this funny little character that you created, and you just kind of kept it in the back pocket, and then you just unleashed it in full form for this movie. But this, I think, needed to stay in the back pocket. Either stay in the back pocket or go right in the trash.
In the trash. It reminds me of a character you would develop for SNL for their technical rehearsal when they decide what skits stay and go. Mm-hmm. Because usually they drop 2 or 3 before you actually see it performed live.
Sure.
And this is what it reminded me of. Like, Whitey was an idea that was presented to SNL and they dropped it, but Adam Sandler never got over it. And he kept putting him in stuff, and then here he is for the world to behold.
And since... I don't know if I'm going to start a counter for how many times I say Happy Madison in this, but, you know, since this was his ordeal, this was his Super Bowl, nobody stepped in and said, I don't think this is good for this. I don't think this is right. I think there's a little too much of this, or this might be a little too extreme. Nobody did that. Mr. Adam Sandler went in there and just... That was it. He just threw it in there, and now you have Whitey. He's here. Deal with it.
He's just here.
So, I think there's some decent ideas there. I say this a lot. There's a lot of decent ideas, but you just found the way to screw it up, and
yeah,
here we are.
It's just like, also, he's not a funny character to like make fun of because he's just an old, overworked man.
Yeah. So
it's like you see him get into all these situations, and it's like, that's just like, I feel bad for him, you know? And I get that's the point, but it's like, yeah, like it also just feels so like when he gets thrown in the porta potty and then he gets dunked in the poop, it's like, I'm not laughing, I just feel sad.
Yeah. It's
like, that's just objectively awful.
Yeah.
And it's like he has to shave all the time because he looks like a gorilla without it. And it's like, okay. And you know what? I liked Whitey with hair in the flashbacks. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I liked that design, but I don't know.
A little bit of redemption, but not enough to, you know, for a full comeback.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's Whitey, all right. He is certainly one of the characters of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Up next on the chopping block here, we're going to be talking about... We're talking about Whitey 2, Eleanor.
Eleanor, yeah. I mean, everything you can say about Whitey, I think you can also say about Eleanor, but she has it a lot worse where she's not consequential to the plot.
Nope.
Where she just kind of exists. And I think I brought this up earlier in the quicker synopsis TM, where when they're describing, like, you know, Davy's supervillain backstory, Eleanor is like captivated by the story, and it's like, okay, she would be. But then you remember this happened 20 years ago, and they lived together for like, what, 65, 67 years, or whatever number they threw out?
Sure.
And it's like, Whitey doesn't strike me as the type of person to hide this for 20 years. So it's like the character you used to explain this backstory is a character that should be also just as aware of it as the people who were there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's like the wig joke is just kind of okay.
Yeah. There's a few, you know, like I said, there's a few decent bits here. Like you said, too, there's a few decent bits here and there, but I don't know. There's just not enough to make me say, man, Eleanor's a great character. Like, I can't say that about any of these characters. I can't do it.
Yeah, she's like a just as annoying voice.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, she doesn't sing as much and isn't in the movie as much, so it doesn't annoy me as much.
Oh my god, can you imagine that just being like the Whitey Eleanor duo through the entire thing?
Oh god.
Yeah.
It's like Jack and Jill. Yeah, Adam Sandler had some weird movies.
Yeah, that is one of the films of all time. Another big production from old Adam.
I don't know why he just keeps making unfunny comedy movies. I don't know what's with him.
Like, you can make good ones. You made Happy Gilmore. We all like that one.
That's a great movie. The original Grown Ups is pretty good. 50 First Dates is all right.
Yeah. And then you have Little Nicky.
I know you like The Water Boy.
Oh, The Water Boy is pretty good. A lot of people don't like Water Boy.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that movie was pretty funny.
You got The Wedding Singer.
Yeah. No?
I know this isn't a funny one, but Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Bedtime Stories is okay. You know, I like the movie Hustle, where he's the basketball coach for the 76ers. That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, because it's not funny. It's Adam Sandler just being a guy. And he's really good at just being a guy.
And this time he's coaching basketball, but he's not doing it for community service or for Whitey.
That's why that movie works. It's not for Whitey.
Finally. Speaking of finally, we have reached the final thing on the wheel, and that would be our old pal Davy.
Ah, yes. Davy. I mentioned this earlier.
Davy, Brycey. No.
Brycey Wicey. I mentioned this earlier, but man, Davy just isn't funny. And I know that's part of the point.
Did you relate Eleanor to Bryce?
No, I did not. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Nor I did Whitey, if I remember correctly. But here's what I will say about both of them. It's important. Respect your elders, because sometimes they might be saying something correct or on the right path, and you may not see it yet.
There you go. That works.
There you go.
Okay, back to Davy.
Now, Davy. I know he's supposed to be a mean little man, but the problem with writing a character like this is that it only works if they're really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he just isn't funny. A lot of the jokes are just dumb gross out or just crude. And I'm not saying that can't be funny, but it's not witty or clever or some form of charming. It's like if you took I'm trying to think of like a good comparison for this character. Like, he feels like a really bad Boondocks character, where a lot of the humor in Boondocks comes from the characters saying something ridiculous, but they're saying it in such a specific and clever way that it makes it funny.
Sure.
Where here, it just feels like, hey, yo, I'm gonna insult you. Put on your yarmulke. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No, that completely makes sense. I'm just kind of thinking about this a little bit. kind of what I wanted to say about old Davy Crockett.
I was gonna make that joke earlier, but I was like,
yeah, that's fine. I totally agree. I think there's, there was just not a lot of humor with him. And I think I don't want to pair it, but yeah, it's those gross out humor moments, and they're not giving me any material. Mm-hmm. This is not a character I'm going to be coming back to and saying, "Oh wow, dude, Davy."
Yeah, he's not like the Grinch where he's so cartoonishly evil it loops back around to being charming.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a jerk.
Yeah.
He feels like Woody in the first cut of Toy Story 1 that was storyboarded before they changed everything.
Yes.
But worse.
Yes. And one that I've actually seen.
Yeah, we've talked about that before on Cars. I'm bringing it back around.
Bringing it back around. Why not? Oh my gosh. One of the few special edition, the bonus featured disc that I actually watched. It's very rare.
One of these days we have to go through bonus features and watch them and do a commentary on them.
That'd be pretty good. I'd like that.
That'd be fun. That'd be good extra content.
Well, actually, no, I can't say that because 8 Crazy Nights does have bonus features on the Blu-ray. And it's 4 of them, and it's just Adam Sandler going, "Yeah, I made this." It's like, okay, yay,
cool,
good job. Yeah, again, it's just nothing to write home about, really.
Yeah,
it's just, it's there, and here we go.
I guess to kind of get to more plotty things with Davy is the one thing that I don't really understand from a logical perspective is why he didn't open that note for 20 years. I understand what it's trying to do, what it's trying to symbolize. He doesn't want to move on from the past. I get it. He's keeping that pain in, then he cries, then he opens the note. I totally understand. I just don't think a 12-year-old, while they're grieving, would not want to see the last thing their parents said to them. That just seems kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it because I don't have a dead dad or a dead mom. Sorry. But Sorry, guys. I'm just not that relatable. But I guess, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe that's my privilege. Oops. But, I don't know. I feel like if I was a grieving kid and I knew I would never be able to talk to my parents again, mm-hmm. I would want to have something, and I was given the last thing they wrote to me, I would open it.
Yeah. I mean, this I can understand. To give a little dynamic in the room, I can totally understand this. I mean, if you're in a mental state where, your parents just died and you have this one last thing, but you're so emotional about it. There can be times in, an emotional fit. I think that's the right term I want to use, where, you just are in a dark place. You don't want to see this. You don't want to even think about it. And you just, you put it away.
Sure, but he goes to great lengths to save it. I mean, it's the one thing he saves in the fire, and he carries it on his person all the time. And I guess to your point, when someone asks him, "Oh, why don't you stay with your..." Eleanor asked him at one point, "Why don't you stay with your parents?" And he goes, "They're dead."
Yeah.
He doesn't just go, "I don't want to talk about it." He just says it out loud.
Maybe this was just the one thing,
I don't know.
That one sacred thing. Hit. It's kind of weird, and it really depends, because obviously this has probably happened, to someone.
Oh, sure.
So maybe it's just in line with the Happy Madison appealing to, an audience.
Maybe, but I feel like this is maybe just a me thing that I'm being weird about, because while I understand why it's functioning the way it does, it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, that could just totally be that I personally have never gone through something like that, and I don't know a lot of people who have, and I'm just totally oblivious. That could totally be it. And if that's the case, please let me know.
Yeah.
I could just totally be wrong. But
help him be ignorant.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying not to be ignorant, which is why I'm asking people who listen to this episode to enlighten me, because I don't want to remain ignorant.
No. Or maybe you do. Maybe you do, to
No.
keep in line with Michael Jackson.
You listen. No. But to keep it in line with our ongoing dissection of Bryce,
Oh, God.
as we always do,
Yep.
what I will say is to never be afraid to keep moving forward. Now, I know that sounds annoying coming from me, because I say that line a lot in my personal life. But what I mean by that is that change is hard. And that times are scary, you know? People are at very formative times. Like this young person bubble is a very formative time for people, you know?
Sure.
And as shown by this movie, it can really mess you up if you don't talk about it and consider it seriously. And here's what I would gesture. Sometimes we make a lot of decisions because we're scared of change. Or because we're scared of what happens if we might fail. We sometimes choose paths and avenues that we know we can succeed at, even if they're piss easy, like drinking from a bottle. I would always encourage never to go in that direction. Because, well, we're trying to do this, right? We're not big right now. As of this recording, we're still only at 68 subscribers. By the way, thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed on YouTube. It means the world to us. I love all the views.
Thanks.
But genuinely, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's not like we've gotten crazy good views on everything we've uploaded. But we're still hammering away, and we're still trying. And we're going to be trying new stuff for season 2.
Yes.
And that's the point. You gotta be persistent with change. Never be too set in your ways. Be receptive to change. Be able to grow. Be able to accept that sometimes things need to be different in order to be successful. And that means being uncomfortable. But what I've often learned in life so far is that our greatest triumphs come from when we feel the most uncomfortable. As Davey was able to so expertly illustrate by a GNC cutout singing, "Now check out her bazugs."
What
that was
segue.
a speech.
That was one of the speeches of all time. Can't wait for Bryce to hear that.
He won't. He ain't listening.
No, he doesn't. He don't care. He's on him, but he's on him, but he doesn't listen back. Maybe if and when he starts editing, then he'll realize.
Nah.
He's not even going to listen. He's just going to put it together, send it away.
Here it is.
With all of our... We're going to cut that. Intact.
We didn't have that many of those this time, though.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. Mostly because we don't have any terrible things that we've said yet.
I mean, yeah, we had the white off, but that's kind of it.
Oh, white off that's not going anywhere.
It's so yeah, like the white off. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's funny. Unlike 8 Crazy Nights.
And I guess that's how we'll conclude it.
Yeah. Wow, what a film.
Closing thoughts. I don't like this one. It's got some good memes, but by golly, it's so mean-spirited and not in a fun way that I don't want to watch it ever again. I'd recommend at least maybe watching it once so you understand the context of the memes, but other than that, it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, this is one of those you know, your buddy tells you about it, and or
you hear it on a podcast.
You hear it on a podcast. You hear it on the internet somewhere, and you're like, God, I gotta see this movie. And you pick it up, you watch it, and you like you said, you never touch it again. This is a one night stand with 8 Crazy Nights. Yes, it really is. It really is. This was my first time around watching this movie, and oh my goodness, it is just. It's frustrating because, again, like we said with the animation, it's so good, but then it just poops the bed. It's just, it craps out and it becomes 8 Crazy Nights. So, I think the animation department, it had potential, but you made that. And listen, to all our Jewish brethren out there, I wish you guys could get a better Hannukah movie. I really do. Go to Hollywood. Tell them we want something that's not 8 Crazy
you run
Nights.
it, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. That's the joke.
Yeah. 8 Crazy Nights.
Opa.
Wow, what a film.
What a dissection of a movie and Bryce Guskovic.
Yeah, and somehow this became a Bryce thing, but hey.
Well, it's because it was funny.
Right.
I wanted to give myself a challenge this episode.
Yeah. Unlike
He's at a very formative time right now.
Unlike the writers of 8 Crazy Nights. No.
Exactly. Lord knows there was no challenge.
Not at all. Not at all. Not for the Happy Madison audience.
Mm-hmm.
Super easy. Just like finding all of our stuff. All our socials.
Exactly. It's so easy, because do you want to know why? First of all, if you're listening to this on any of our platforms such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, and a ton of others listed below, and on our RSS page, which you would go to rss.com/thedouble-after-hours-podcast or whatever, you'll find everything we're listed on, listenable, besides YouTube. I don't know why it doesn't list that, but whatever. But yeah. we're on a ton of different platforms. Search around, probably the one you listen to, we're on. Just check out the Double After Hours podcast, and if you see our logo with the mic and the moon, that's us. So we have all of that, a ton of our popular ones listed and wherever you find these episodes. So again, look up the Double After Hours podcast and wherever you search in the directories, figure out where it is. Our social medias, those ones are also listed wherever you find these episodes. We have an Instagram page called the Double After Hours podcast, Facebook, same name, TikTok, similar-ish name, and a YouTube channel by the exact same name, which is where a lot of people actually discover us. We have our shorts that are doing pretty well on there. So again, thank you so much for the guys who have recently jumped on and started listening. It means the world. If you guys want this to become a bigger thing, I highly recommend sharing these episodes with people you think would like them. As right now, a lot of podcast directories don't really have great ways of discovering new niche shows that aren't like big mega shows with big celebrities and all their like pundits and stars. We're kind of at the bottom of the food chain right now. You know that Shark Tale joke where it goes, there's whale poo, and then there's you. That's us right now. If you want to see us become above whale poo, hit that subscribe button and check us out and send it all to a bunch of people you think would find us interesting. We want to grow this and we want to get better and better for you guys. I think that's everything I have in the tank. I've been Charlie Robinson. Thank you guys so much for listening to our first Christmas episode. I know we have 2 Sonic ones coming out after this, which is kind of weird in the spirit, but we kind of forgot to talk about Sonic 2 earlier, and Sonic 3 is coming out this month, and we cannot wait to talk about that, because I know we talked about Sonic in September, and we kind of have ignored it for a bit. But that episode was really fun, and I can't wait to do those 2 other episodes, because those ones are going to be great, because Shadow's going to be in theaters, and I'm going to be cheering when Guns shoots Maria. It's going to be great. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm Charlie Robinson. I'll see y'all next time.
Well, I mean, this is kind of not our first Christmas one. This is our first Hannukah episode.
Oh, well, Christmas is mentioned.
Yeah, it's got its honorable mention.
Do I need to put a menorah in the thumbnail just for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, me, the non-Jewish man.
Yeah, you're Christian as heck. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm Christian, but I'm advocating for a good Hannukah movie.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. gotta have the dynamic in there somewhere. But anyways, I'm Aaron Gresser. That's a technical foul. We'll catch y'all next time. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Double After Hours podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to check out our social media pages on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm Aaron Gresser, and thanks for staying after hours.